Hi, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the sick role and the sickness career, what they are, and how they apply to me. So briefly, what is the sick role? That is the role that a person takes on in the context of society when they become ill, and the expectations that society has of that person. And the sickness career, I would call the compilation of interaction between that person and society, and the progression that a person goes through, various stages of becoming ill, um, assuming the role of a sick person, uh, getting a diagnosis, entering into a relationship between a medical care provider, and finally, hopefully, recovery, rehabilitation. Um, so I have a series of 5 questions I want to answer pertaining to that, my experience in the sick role, and for simplicity and personal reasons, I'm just going to refer to my sickness career as an adult in the military. Um, so first, was I coddled or babied when I was sick? Not really, no. In the military, it's more along the lines of just deal with it, right? There's work to be done. Um, so did my family, in this case my military family, did they frequently let me stay home when I wasn't well? Again, not really. Doesn't work that way. You show up to work no matter what, and then you tell them what's going on with you, and they send you to medical, and then medical can figure out what's going on. In my case, I did eventually become pretty ill, seriously ill, and I was separated from the military for it, but it was a very long process. Um, so what benefits did I receive from being sick, and did I learn to play sick, right, to avoid obligations? Um, for me, it was never an act. I definitely became ill, and what benefits did I receive? Well, initially, I changed jobs, and it wasn't necessarily less responsibility, but it was less physically demanding. Um, so things became a little bit easier. I had a little less stress. Days were just as long, but I never used my sickness as an excuse to avoid responsibility. That's just not really how I am. I don't like. I set high standards for myself, and I don't like falling into the sick role like poor me. I like to be able to get things done the same as any other day. Um, so what makes up the foundation of my sick career? I would say it, at least for who I am today, it has a lot to do with my experience becoming ill when I was in the Navy. And I can frame that in the gains, I suppose, as the primary, secondary, and tertiary gains from becoming ill. Uh, so the primary gains would be called the relief of symptoms in my case. It certainly didn't happen overnight, um, but uh, part of relief of symptoms was being given a different job. I had less stress. I was able to focus more on taking care of my body, and I did get better eventually. So the secondary gains, exemption from responsibility. Once again, I never really became exempt from a responsibility. In some ways, I have more responsibility when I changed jobs, but it was more manageable. Um, so, and it was better suited to you know uh, what I was capable of, and allowing me to focus on getting better, going into remission. Um, Tertiary gains. What benefits did others receive from my being ill? Well, since I changed jobs, my new command benefited from my presence. They received another body. Um, my family benefited from my being ill in a way because I was able to spend more time with them. I wasn't going out to sea, and I actually, after I separated from the military, I spent a lot more time at home than I probably would have. And lastly, I would say the pharmaceutical industry benefited from me in some way because I was put on a lot of medication. Um, and just as an afterthought, I've been in remission now for a while. I had an autoimmune disease, and I still do, but changing my lifestyle, changing my diet, really has had a huge impact. And I no longer feel like a sick person. I don't like assuming the sick role. I kind of set high standards for myself, um, and I try never to fall back on that to avoid responsibility. So I think I've exceeded my time limit, so wrap it up there. Thank you very much.